We're back once again, only on its after hours, only on its fullswapradio.com. And well, we've had Found West, we've had the lovely Sally D'Angelo, we've had Naughty Jojo for our first week, and we're going to end the week with somebody a lot more newer, who's a little bit even newish to the industry, but well, she's somebody who you got to keep your eye on. I give you the dominant, the delectable, and the very beautiful but very intelligent. I give you Lindsay Lee. So Lindsay, so let's start off here with, so you're doing BDSM, and I'm glad we have somebody who knows what goes on, because you've heard the whole controversy a while back with Avery Jane with too tight, not they should have loose. How long
Yeah.
did you study BDSM for? And like for good BDSM people, because you've trained with dungeon everything. Like, what are the rules? How much do you have to train before you can have people? Where and like when you read on some of the stuff, how many people are legit good doms, and how many people are like you look and go, you should not even be near like any BDSM gyms, like ever.
Honestly, the BDSM world is so broad, and I really don't think that like the adult industry or the porn industry really touches on just how like professional that it can be. I think that, there's a lot of sites that will promote BDSM and they'll have the girls tied up or vice versa, but it can be pretty staged versus these actual dungeons, like the one out in Arizona where I am, Den of Vindamitis. I mean, I just started with her, but it's got Portia Lynn as the head mistress, and she's amazing. She was an adult star for years, and then she went into the BDSM world, and so she's one of the best to work with and like train from. And so getting to know all the boundaries and the different types of, you know, uh, dom that can happen with your sub, there's just so much involved that I never even knew. Like I had a small scale idea of, okay, there's whips and there's ties and there's, you can spank and cage and make them dress up. And I mean, just the beginning steps, or what, people stereotype BDSM is, but there's so much more to it. And it really comes down to respect and mutual just agreement, because you're understanding and being intuitive to what your like sub needs and can tolerate. And to be honest, it really is more of a pleasure aspect, but it's just done in a different way, and everyone's different. So you really have to be in tune to them, and that beginning consult is extremely important. So it's been really fun. It's been very interesting because I was curious, but I had no idea just how grand it was until I got into it.
So how much time did you spend like learning, training, almost like shadowing before they said, all right, you're ready to actually have a sub. You're ready to go out on your own. You're ready for us to like take the training wheels off and go, all right, we trust you.
You're
You're not
never,
gonna get somebody killed.
no, of course not. You're never done training, to be honest. Like you're always going to be learning, but it's at least, I want to say, a good full-time 2 weeks before you really can be hands-on yourself. So you wanna watch as many interactions and sessions as you can before you feel like, okay, I can take responsibility of the room and I can control the room, and I do know what to look for. So I mean, we were doing a minimum of 4 hours each time. So that's really what we've been starting with, is 4 hours at a time learning, all right, this type, and just going from there, and then watching. There's so many girls at this one, but like there's girls who have their do's and don'ts. So I'll follow girls that do one thing, but then there's another girl that will do another thing because they both have their do's and don'ts as well, just like the client does. So
You followed what happened with Avery Jane, and I want your take on it, because there's some people say, hey, you got to sometimes push the envelope, because hey, they might get scared. They might just go, hey, this little bit feels uncomfortable. And look,
yeah.
as you said, the porn industry sometimes is like, as Mistress Rihanna once told me, it's like McDonald's of BDSM. It's the cheap stuff. It's not the high end stuff. So, what's
Right.
your take on it? And when should a dom or even anybody in BDSM understand? Like, look, you can't just push somebody past their limit. It's they say no. It's like, all right, you shut that down. You loosen the restraints. You do loosen things up. This is not you going, oh yeah, push it like as a gym trainer. Go, you could do an extra mile, an extra couple steps.
Right. No, exactly. It's really not, because you're not like training them, and you're just like you said, you're not there to be like a sports or an exercise coach, or like push somebody to learn something. You're there to, it's almost, you're there to serve, but you're doing it in a sense that like they're putting their trust in you, they're putting their faith in you. And so if they say no, like no means no. Obviously there are safe words if the non-consensual consent is something along the lines of their interest, but like you have to listen and be in tune, because if not, you can hurt people, and that is serious, and that becomes more of a liability factor. But also, like, why would you want to hurt them when it's supposed to be that mutual understanding, and they're putting their trust in you? So if you break that trust, like it's really hard to, you can earn trust in the beginning very easily, but when you break that, it's so hard to earn back. And that's with anything. And so BDSM really is about a lot of trust and actually listening to like what your client, partner, sub needs. So
we're gonna go more to this later on, but first let's go into your adult career. First, congrats on the deeper scene. We're gonna talk about that off air. You did it with Isaiah Maxwell and Blake Bossum. So what did you like about it? And did you ever get sort of like intimidated when you first walked in there? It's like, all right, these are top people. This is like Isaiah Maxwell is a big name, star in the industry. Blake Bossum is somebody who has a huge following, and it's like, all right, they're putting me in with two good people, like right off the bat, and it's like, oh, okay. I don't
yeah,
know.
honestly,
I gotta hold my own, or else I could be just like the wallflower here.
and that's something that I always teased about in the industry, was that I'm good at sex, I'm not always good at acting. And so when I get to see people like that who have been around for so long and they're so good, and Blake actually, I've been around long with her, but I wasn't really taking it as serious because it was more of a side gig for me. And now that it's full time, and I see just how like great she's succeeded, and she lives in the same state of me. It's really cool. She's a really wonderful girl. I loved talking to her, and Isaiah too. They're both great, so it was very easy to work with them. But yeah, I definitely was nervous because I wanted to give that good impression. I wanted to really impress. And Vixen is a huge company to work for, so if you mess up your first time, I doubt they'll call you back. So it's something I really took seriously, and I loved it. It was a 12-hour day, like literally between like makeup, hair, wardrobe, going over lines, doing take after take. It was 12 hours by the time we were all said and done. And it was fun. It went by quick. I didn't even realize like what time it was until we were done. I was like, oh my God, we've been here all day. But like it was a lot of fun. I really got to know them both pretty well. And like it was cool because I've done New Sensations, I've done Team Ski, I've done Nubiles, I've done Lethal Hardcore, ATK. God, honestly, I'd have to go back and look at all the companies, but I've worked with a lot of good companies and I've done several scenes for most of them. And that one was definitely the most intense as far as just the production of it. So I was really impressed, but I'm really hoping I get to do it again. So cross my fingers.
So why 12? Why 12 hours? I've always wondered that because when I talk to content creators, they're like, this makes no sense. It should be just like 2 or 3 hours. You show up, everything's ready. You do some little bit of, you figure out, your banter, you figure out what you're gonna say, and you just start, you keep rolling through it here. Hey, we have a camera guy, we have a GoPro. It should be tough. Like, what was it? I mean, I'm guessing it's not 12 hours of pure sex. I'm not that idiot, much of an idiot, but
No.
like, what is it that takes so long? And what did you, I guess,
Honestly,
for us, yeah, like what was it about that made you go? It was fast, even though, as you said, it's an entire day.
yeah, the sex was the honestly the shortest portion of all of it, surprisingly. They're perfectionists. So Vixen Media Group, and they've got their director. She's amazing, but she is such a perfectionist with how it looks. So I mean, the wardrobe, I probably tried on 6 7 outfits before we finally decided, and we're all decked out in like Louis Vuitton and different brands and stuff. very, very like down to the T, like, okay, where should this ring be? Where should this ring be? Like, wait, that color doesn't work well with her lingerie, so let's change that out. Like, it's very, very, very detailed. And they built the whole set from scratch. So like they rented a warehouse for the day, literally brought a U-Haul and like built the room from the ground up. It was insane. And there were so many people on set, but like it makes sense because when you look at the final product, it really is movie quality, like professional grade just content. And I loved that about it. Honestly, I can't wait for that scene because the pictures were so damn good. I'm very excited to see how it all came out, but it really goes to show that like when you put time and detail and effort into it, it can be like a masterpiece almost. And so, that is something that also takes into account, okay, well then you want to make sure your actors and actresses are also on point, because if you're putting so much time and money into a good production like that, one person can probably throw off the whole scene. So it's really important. But I loved doing it and I would do it again for sure.
So here's the question, Ben. The $64,000 question. When you're shooting your own content, because you have an OnlyFans, you have many vids. How much time do you schedule for your own stuff? Because I'm getting as you are somebody who, as you said, you want high quality, you want top stuff. It's easy to do 12 hours when it's as you said, when it's Brazzers, Naughty America, Team Skeet, Vixen, because they're paying. So it's like, oh well, hey, I'm getting a big paycheck. Fine. When it's your own content, it's like, yeah, I can't be here 12 hours. So what for you is like a time that you go, okay, I'm gonna shoot my own scene, I'm gonna do this here, and this is how long we're cutting it off. Like, is it for you, like what's the magic number? 3, 4, like how much
That's a
when
good
you get
question.
somebody, yeah.
I would say four is a good is a good range. Like 4 to 6 is probably the max I'd really want to do for my own. When I'm doing customs, they're really easy because my fans know what they want and they are pretty straightforward about it, and I like that. Plus, I've set up my room to where like it's common, like it's gonna be me because I've got the bunny in the background and everything. So I'm really good about that. But when I do stuff like, for instance, I did a scene with Rico Blaze, and he's a very detailed content creator, and I love that about him, but he does take a while. And so when we did the top of my apartment garage doesn't have cameras. So we were like, we should do like a scary themed like movie up here because there was no cameras. We're like, fuck it. So we went up to the top of the garage and it took us hours. It probably took us like 3 hours to get all the shots just outside. And then when we went inside, it was another like hour and a half, but it was worth it because the finished product was so good. So like I did appreciate that, but I probably wouldn't do more than like 6 hours for anybody because I'm like, I'm either getting paid by you or this better pay off really well because it's not worth that much time. So
So are there certain, as you said, are there certain people you would do it for? Because as you said, with Rico Blaze, it's like, okay, he's a big name. He's somebody that you look and go, oh, he has tons of connections. He sells a lot. He has a big audience. It's worth it for 4 to 6 hours because all right, it's worth it a year. Are there other people you look at going, all right, I could see myself doing this. I could see myself like 4 hours, 5 hours
mm,
because they're worth it. I'll be able to move stuff. They'll get me a lot of hits. There's somebody who I just want to work with because they're on my bucket list.
honestly, I feel like for every girl, we've known that like Johnny Sins is one of those guys who's just known. And so he's definitely on my list. I would love to work with Johnny Sins someday. And his stuff is always going to be well known. Like he knows how to push. He's the man of every job. But like he's definitely on that list. I'd have to think about it because I really feel like some of the members of Blacked are really good with how they work and the audience that they bring. I get paired with BBC a lot because of how like pale I am. I'm so freaking white and pale. It's terrible. I'm trying to tan, but it does not work. I just turn pink. But yeah, I get paired with a lot of BBC, and I feel like one of the guys with Black, like Anton or Jack Slayer was somebody we were supposed to work together, and I got scared of how big he was. And then after I worked with Brickzilla, I was like, okay, I think I could do it now. So I eventually want to work with him as well and do like a big production.
So you're doing, as you said, you're doing the BDSM. You're shot for, you know, Vixen Media and of course Black. And you, as you said, you're being now it's the BBC and all that stuff. What do you want to be known as? And how tough is it sometimes, like trying to figure out, okay, I like the money, I like this, but I don't want to be known as this. I want like, how do you try to diversify without offending your audience? Because that's what everybody's trying to figure out. Like, okay, how can I be with everybody and not just be lumped at like, okay, yeah, I'm always shooting for Dogfire Black, a couple times at Bang Bros. Yeah, I'm starting to notice a pattern here.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, they've really put me out as the MILF this year, and I know it's because of my big tits, which is fine. I am a little older for like what the industry wants. They want the teens, which is fine. But like, I'm trying not to be known as a MILF, not quite yet. Maybe it's a pride thing, but I actually don't mind too much. If anything, I really love being able to say that I'm all natural. Like, I don't have fillers, I don't have BBL, I don't have fake tits. Like, everything's real on me. And so that's something I really love to push out, is that I'm your all naturally girl next door. Like, I'm not only my great girlfriend experience, but I'm also all natural and I'm myself. And I don't know, I try to be that, like, cute, well-shaped girl that like just comes and fucks really good. But I don't mind the MILF thing, and if honestly that's what people want to see more of me, then like I would definitely embrace it. But I think it was a pride thing at first, especially this year. I've done like all MILF scenes this year so far, except for Baxter's blowjobs, and so I was like, damn, I guess I'm really like getting into the MILF stuff. So if that seems to take off, then like I'll totally embrace it. But I was definitely nervous at first, so.
When, as you mentioned before, like when you shot for Black, they controlled everything. The makeup, they wanted the rings. What do you have a purse? Do you have a clutch? What do you want to do when you're doing the content? Like, how much do you enjoy when somebody's saying, "Hey, this is what I want you to look like. This is what I have in mind," and how much do you also like when like for you? I know. Do you like having makeup artists, or are you somebody who's looking going? I don't trust a lot of these makeup people. I want to look how I feel natural. And I don't want to look like a sad clown.
You are so right. I really do like doing my own makeup most of the time. And because I'm a little more all natural, I don't do like a lot of the gaudy stuff. I really don't do like the smoky eye and the big lashes. Like I try to keep more natural. But I do a better job. And today I have barely anything on, so don't judge me. But I have noticed that like my makeup job has been better than the artists that I usually use. Some companies are great, don't get me wrong. But I just really like to have my own look and my own style. So even when I'm doing my own content, when I'm doing solos, I love dressing up in really cute lingerie that I picked out. But if my fans have customs, I do like it when they're straightforward and they tell me exactly what they want. But I never venture too far from like, what I want to be seen as. So if somebody's asking for me to do something or look a certain way that I really just don't agree with, I'm not going to do it. And that's just being true to yourself. But I've been doing my makeup since I was 10. So I've been doing my makeup a long time and I know what looks good and what doesn't. So I'm usually pretty good about that.
How tough is it literally trying to find like the perfect location? Because a lot of girls, if a running joke is, oh yeah, nobody likes hotel rooms, but it's great because you don't want people to know where the hell you live. And yet you want to have, the comfortability of like, okay, I don't have to worry about Consuela walking in and going, housekeeping, ah! You don't want security showing up. Sure as hell, sometimes the Airbnb, you don't want those people finding you because they're like, we caught you squirting. You ruined the drapes. We want
Yeah.
$5,000, damages. So for you, like
Yeah.
when you're trying to find like the perfect location, how much is it almost like, yeah, I've got to use my house just because I have control. I literally don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z and worry about, Consuela walking in and freaking out and going, oh crap, how am I gonna explain this?
I know that's always been a big thing. Like when I was doing content all at like hotels at first. And I mean, it's something that like we're just used to be safe because you always have to keep that in mind. But ever since I've been using my house, I'm like, I love it. I can be as loud as I want. I've broken my bed like twice, and I don't have to worry about having to like pay for it at a hotel or something. And I can really like play around with the space. I do love doing stuff at my house. I love outdoor sex too, though. So that's been something where like I want to find the perfect like trail or mountain. I mean, I'm in Arizona, so like we have all kinds of trails and stuff like that, and beautiful nature out here. So that's been kind of fun too. But yeah, it's a lot better to just use your own space if you're comfortable doing that. And I have big confidence in like the safety measures that I take, that I'm not really too concerned. Plus, I love how I've set up my space, so I'm actually really happy with it. But yeah, the hotel thing was a problem for a while. And Airbnbs now mostly all have cameras, so like darn well that host could come back to you and be like, "Hey, we have you on camera, like sucking two different dicks and like doing things in our living room." Like, they're not stupid. They know what you're doing. So you take a big risk if you do an Airbnb.
Give me the people who you've done content with that surprise you in terms of like how much you enjoy them. Because as you said, when you're working with a Rico, Blaze, when you're working with a Becca Blossoms or an Isaiah Maxwell, it's going to be great. The scene's going to be hot. They're at that level. Give me some people that you worked with and you went, damn, I want to work with them again. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I didn't think they were going to be like this creative or just this fun to be with.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely people that I've really been surprised by. I would say, gosh, the couple people that come to mind, I've done several content trades with Jay Romero because he's just good at what he does. And it doesn't even have to be extremely creative or a long storyline, but he does his all own editing. He's constantly trying to improve himself. So like he's been really good with scenes. Another one is probably Chocolate Beast. I just did a threesome with him and this redhead, and like he was really good as well. So that caught me by surprise. Obviously Rico Blaze. And there's somebody I'm really looking forward to working with. He's a local here. He goes by Sex Sensei, BDSM like God, and I'm most used to being like submissive in sex for porn, but because I've been doing the BDSM stuff, I really want to be a sub to a BDSM guy in a scene just to see the receiving end and like get that experience, the full experience, so that I can understand it better. And it'll make me a better dom, I feel like. So I'm really excited to work with him because that'll be interesting to see like how the other side feels. So
Last question for let you go. How tough is it sometimes doing the content in terms of like finding the right people? Because everybody's hitting you up nowadays, and you're trying to, especially now in the digital world, you're trying to figure out who you vibe with, who's reliable. A lot of it's by internet, a lot of it's by Twitter, Instagram,
mhm.
Snapchat, because everybody's all over the place here. How tough is it for you, like figuring out, is this guy reliable? Is he legit?
Yeah.
Does he have a good reputation? And especially when, as you said, it all takes is one person, to piss you off, and then Twitter is just like a mob. So for you, how much do you literally put into like, all right, this guy's legit, this guy's not. I'm gonna work with this guy. I don't want to trust this guy. Like,
Yeah.
what's the process for you?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it took me a lot of years to build the confidence I have to even respond to those people. And now that I've gotten so many DMs about content creation and collabing and stuff, you really have to know how to filter out the people who are just fans who want to just do something with you versus like the actual content creators. So like I do verify their OnlyFans. I do verify like their Twitter feed and see what kind of content they're putting out and how they're marketing. And also just the way they speak to me, and I really do ask for a reference or two if I'm not sure. But other than that, like you got to go with your gut feeling. You got to do the verification. And just if you like what they're putting out and you like the way that they're handling the other talent, and you haven't seen anything wrong, I really got to go with your gut. I'll usually ask a reference and just ask the girl like, hey, how was it working with them? Like, what did you like? What you didn't like? And sometimes I'll get an answer that I was not expecting and I don't work with that person. But most of the time it's always like, yeah, they were great. If you want to do it, definitely reach out. So just is up to you based on like how you want to be seen and if you really trust that person to market for you as well. So
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're proud to have on the show. We get Lindsay Lee. So, Lindsay, before we let you go, where can fans check you out? Where is the OnlyFans Twitter page, Instagram, website? Where can fans hit you up at?
yay. So Twitter, I'm the Lindsay Lee. So LindsayLee. I have a backup now because Twitter didn't like this picture I had. There's a lot of nude content on there, so just beware. But my Instagram is the same. It's got an X at the end, and then the OnlyFans is Sexy Lindsay Lee. And I'm currently building up my many vids, but I'm doing it in such a way I want it to be so aesthetically pleasing that I'm really excited for when I fully like launch all my videos on there. So that's something to look forward to here in the next month. So
Lindsay Lee, ladies and gentlemen, once again, an honor and a pleasure having her on the show. A lot of big things. You got to check her out. She's going to be on, as I said, black.com scenes coming out. A lot of things coming out with her BDSM. We're looking forward to it here. We come back, a lot more going on. So stay tuned for more great episodes, more great action coming up here on its last call. I'm sorry, it's after hours, only on its Full Swap Radio.